Chapter 13. A happy ending. Violet's point of view. It looks really shiny, commented Jane. Thanks. I always prefer blue over brown. It's just brighter, I told her as I applied the black nail polish to her nails. I guess you're right, she murmured. I then finished adding the last drop of bright polish to her nail. And done, I announced as I put it back. Jane opened her eyes to greet her nail polish fingers. I stared at her face, waiting for an expression. She took time to decide about this. Then she had a smile on her face. I love it, she shouted as she hugged me, causing me to stagger a lot. You're welcome, I said. She let go of me, giggling. Thanks. You know, this suits me a lot, she said. I laughed. Of course it does, I shot back. You know, you're a sort of girly girl when it comes to doing these kind of things, I commented Jane. She stopped before holding a thoughtful expression. Huh? I never thought it that way before, she said as she smiled and continued. We rushed downstairs to show the crew Jane's nails. Look, Sally, look at my nails, she beamed to Sally, who was talking to Charlie. Sally's eyes widened with shock as she inspected black nails. Wow, do you think you could do that for me? Sally exclaimed. I laughed out loud. Of course, I said, bending to her height. The brown-haired pretty girl jumped with joy before hugging me and running off to Charlie. I looked around for Jane, who was in front of Jeff and Jared, who were sitting on the couch. Jane showed them her nails. I smiled as I made my way towards them. Hey, Dollface, you think you could do the same to her face? Jeff said to me before bursting out in laughter. His laughter had become satanic thing to it. Jane shot him an evil glare as her nostrils flared, daring him to say one more insult. Finally, when Jeff calmed down, Jane pounced on him, blowing him with punches. Jane, no, I shouted as I put my arms around her, pulling her. She was very hard to pull off. That girl had really tight grip on him. Finally, after what seemed to be an eternity, I pulled Jane off of Jeff. I hate you, she murmured to him, but loud enough for him to hear. Love you too, Jeff replied sarcastically before chuckling. All of us whipped our heads to the doorbell that was ringing. I'll get it, shouted Ben as he made his way towards the door. Ben tripped and landed on the harsh thud, causing all of us to laugh. Before he got up and opened the door, there stood another creepypasta. He had black hair, was sort of like Jeff's. He had this light gray eyes you couldn't miss. He had a pointy cone nose that stripped black and white. His grin showed his pointy white teeth. On his shoulders were bundles of black and white feathers. His sleeves were striped black and white and wore gray pants with suspenders. Also had 3 large claws with wrapping around them. His stockings were also black and white with black shoes. Ah, friends, Mimi announced. I decided to call him Mimi since he looked like one. Except Slendy and Splendy, everyone had disappointment in their eyes. Yeah, right. Why did you come here? Said Ben. Now, Ben, that's not a way to treat your guests, Mimi said, waving a claw. Jeff's point of view. What the heck does Laughing Jack have to come? Gosh, he bothers me so freaking much. Everything to him is a freaking joke. And I swear, at times I just want to wipe the grin off his freaking face. I mean, it's always there. You give him an insult, it's still there. You argue with him, it'll be kept there. He's never even mad, always happy. It's not that we hated him, it's just that we didn't like him too much. Laughing Jack, just some freaked up crazy clown. Tell us why you even freaking came, I snarled to him. Laughing Jack let out a chuckle. Jane told me there are humans here. Gosh, that biatch! I shot a death glare towards Jane's direction, who was ashamed of herself. And these two lovebirds must be it, commented Laughing Jack as he took a look at Violet, then Jared. He better not do anything to them, because I swear I'll slit his freaking throat. Laughing Jack grabbed Violet's hand gently, before then kissing her palm, to which hot Violet blushed. She's so freaking adorable. My name is Laughing Jack, but both of you can call me LJ, he said, putting his claws on his chest. Listen here, Sweet Tooth. You better not harm them, I threatened with gritted teeth. As freaking usual, LJ chuckled. Well, it seems as if Jeff is trying to threaten me, he said before he giggled. My, do you sound like a tough boy? He shot back. Well, I've forgotten to mention that LJ also talks politely, but says bad words just like us. Anyways, I was looking forward for a good killing, but these two are different from the other kind, LJ announced. I normally kill children, for I happen to be Crazy Clown. I just love it when I lure them into my Ecuadorian, which plays Pop Goes the Weasel. LJ said this as if he was describing his life dream. Besides, I'm too beat up other killings, LJ said. You'll be more of a beat up when I'm through with you, Mermaid Masky. LJ just ignored. Well, it seems as if you two have already gotten me to like you without even doing anything at all, LJ said. Violet's point of view. So what sort of killings do you do, I asked. LJ, as he was sat across from Jared and I. Jared held my hand, for he didn't trust LJ, but I did. I found pleasure in killing the young ones and stuffing their stomachs with candies. Laughing Jack replied, I'll tell you a story of one of them, he said too soon. It was one of my best killings. There was a small boy named James. James seemed like a fun target, so I remembered the first time I approached him was when he was in the backyard of his home playing. While his mother was cooking, I took a chance and talked to James like the usual talk, LJ said. I listened attentively as Jared did, for we both wanted to know what happened to James. I heard his mother coming, signaling that she heard me. That was the first sign. I ran, leaving the mother startled. Later that night, I entered the mother's dreams and turned it into a nightmare. The nightmare had my carnival in it. Broken tents, stuffed animals hung from nooses, and more. The next morning, I lured James into the sidewalk and gave him a handful of my candy, to which his mother had him throw it away. What did his mother say? His mom didn't believe him and demanded to know where he got the candy from. LJ shifted in his seat, leaning back, keeping a grin on his face. In the end, I viciously attacked James, leaving his body ripped open with intestines hanging and lungs showing. I appeared in front of the mother, and when she attempted to stab me, I disappeared, causing her to stab her son in the heart. And when the cops came, they took her to the mental asylum, where they kept her, thinking she was insane. What a vicious clown had killed her son, when in reality, it did happen. Laughing Jack leaned back, expecting an applause, but instead got silence. I felt terrible. That poor mother. she was blamed for her son's death when she has been protecting him in the sun. Such a sad death. Such a sad story. But in LJ's view, hearing that story is like hearing a beautiful music. Well, I must be going, LJ announced as he stood up. Finally, shouted Eyeless Jack from the other room. Okay, the door's over there, said Jeff. Jeff has stayed with us, for also he didn't trust Laughing Jack. Goodbye, Violet and Jared. You two are different specimens. So, no need to worry, LJ said before he shut the door behind him. Is he gone? Sally and Jane shouted from upstairs. Yep, coast is clear, yelled Teddy. Later that night. Violet's point of view. It's just a swirly nose, that's weird. I mean, how do you smell things? Jared asked back at Slender Mansion. Actually, one of those weird things is his wrapping around with the claws. Are those necessary? I told him as I recalled Laughing Jack's wrappings. After doing some fun, and I don't mean making love kind of fun, Jared thought it would be time to leave. I seriously don't know why, but he just announced it. I just stayed longer, for we were watching Sally smile, but I didn't want to reject his offer. Jared said he had a surprise blindfolded me, and also put earplugs in my ears. He then led me to my room and made me sit down on the bed. Don't take him out until I come in. Love you. He said that before he went outside the door. So now I'm sitting here thinking of the same things LJ did to poor James and recalling Jared in mind recent conversations. I nearly screamed and felt a hand on my shoulder. The person took the earphones out of my ears. I'm sorry, honey. Did I scare you? Jeff said. I took the blindfold off my eyes. Yes, you did, I whispered. Jeff let out an unintentional chuckle. Sorry, Cupcake. Just came to give you a small gift. Jeff brought out a hand which had a golden-colored, rectangular-shaped present in it. I stared in awe. For me? Again? I asked. No, it's for Jared. He sarcastically replied. Of course it's for you, sweet cheeks. Open it when I'm gone, he told me. Before then, he went out the window. I almost about to open my mysterious gift until Jared strolled in. Okay, princess, you can now... But he didn't finish as he saw that I didn't have a blindfold on. He put his hands on his hips. Violet, I told you not to take them off, he said as he pretended to be stern. I let out a small chuckle. I know, but Jeff came in and he said he had a present for me. I shot back. Well, can you open it later? I want to show you my surprise. Jared whined. I nodded, and before we walked in the living room. Jeff's point of view. Gosh, I wonder if she opened it. Will she like it? Maybe. Maybe not. But she has to. I stole that thing from the cemetery. Wait, am I... No. Jeff the Killer does not get nervous. I don't get freaking nervous. It's impossible. But I guess this is what love does to you. No? You know that? Fuck love. It's a waste of time. I hate it. If it were a person, I'll kill them. I mean, love is hella weird. You fall in love with someone and they are in love with someone else. I mean, like, what the fuck? That's not even fair. Love is just a waste of time. It changes for the bad. Look at me. I was Jeff the Killer, one of the American's most deadliest serial killers. I had an insane mind and nothing could stop me. Love never existed in my mind. But now I fell in love. I'm like some kind of high school boy who's has a freaking crush. I mean, where the hell did all this sanity go? I was only completely insane when I pissed off or when I was in killing mode. If that too, then I'm insane. But Violet, she's freaking changed me with her cute face and hot body. And the worst part, she's in love with someone else. See, that's love right there. Whereas everything's unfair, love is a game. It's either you win your lover's heart or you don't. And sometimes you gotta cheat. Wait a minute. What the fuck? I sound gay as hell. No, that's what I can do to you. I hate love and I always will. I just hope I'll get over Violet. Maybe we can become friends and freaking fast, by the way. I gotta now make a vow to never fall in love. Now that I know you might be thinking that's stupid for a killer like me, but it isn't. Because look at all that happened. But seriously, love? That's insane. Violet's point of view. I enjoyed the wonderful pasta Jared made for me. Did you add pepper to it? I asked. Yep, he shot back. Apparently, the surprise Jared had was a fantastic dinner. He made pasta, salad, and nice fish. I know that it's not much, but after all I've ate, it was. The pasta was superb, the salad was fresh, the fish was crispy, just like I liked it. The table was covered with red cloth, and the lights were closed. Only candles were lit in shelves and tables. Jared, you gotta tell me, but I was cut off when Jared wasn't in his seat. Suddenly, this beautiful slow song came on, and I'm not sure of the name, but it was my favorite. Jared suddenly came up to me and lended me a hand. May I have this dance? He asked. I was in shock, but not that much. Yes, I said as he gently helped me get up. We were about to dance when suddenly remembered something. Wait, before we start, I want to open a gift. You know, so the curiosity can be gone, I told him. Jared sighed before nodding his head. I pecked him on the lips before running towards where I left the gift. I grabbed the box and ran back to my box. Jared watched as I carefully opened my present, and what I saw, I was completely awed. It was beautiful. Never have I seen like this. Never. It was so pretty that even Jared smiled. I could tell that it wasn't living, but that didn't matter. It was so pretty. No, it was so marvelous, outstanding, such detailed beauty. I grabbed a small vase I bought yesterday and put it on the shelf. I then carefully put the item in the vase. No other items will come in this vase. I then walked over to Jared. He put his arms around my waist while I put mine around his neck, and we both moved our feet and I rested my head on his chest. Half an hour, I stared into the wonderful man's eyes, his beautiful orbs. This man was unique. Can you believe it? We only met in high school, and this man is just so perfect. He's the sweetest guy I've ever met. He was muscular, tall, adorable, hot. It's a miracle I have him. Looking at life, it's been wonderful. I had so many friends. Jessica, Zach, and now, how could I forget Jeff? Jeff was the one who saved me. He's always my friend, my savior. Jared will always be my man, my love, my life, everything. Jared is my everything, and I will never let anyone harm him anyway. Life is just perfect. Everything's fantastic. Passing my classes, awesome friends, and best man I ever wanted. The man of my dreams. I'm lying in his muscular arms. I let out a small sigh as a peaceful music calms my mind. I cracked a smile as I stared at the magnificent dead rose. I love you so much, Violet. You are my everything. I can never live without you. I love you too, Jared. So, so, so much. You've turned my life into a work of art. Life is a blank paper without you with me. You are my love and always will be. Nothing can ever tear me away from you. Jared leaned down and kissed me on the lips, sending so many sparks. I kissed back. This kiss was so magical, so great, so perfect. Yep, life was perfect.